right. Cheers.
Cheers, mate.
So we have an important episode to talk about. Um, One thing that's so important when it comes to success is being aware of the patterns that come up, right, with success. And when anyone is rising in any area of their life, whether it's career, relationships, like all these good things are coming at you, you're going to get rejection no matter what, because that's just what happens. And it's not fun when you're experiencing it, but you could use it to propel you. And I was thinking before we went on air about this, I kind of want to talk about the hidden ways that we can receive rejection. Because don't you feel like there's a lot of ways that rejection is like right in your face, where someone might say something, and then there's other hidden ways that it can come up?
Yeah, and that's what we're talking about here. All the patterns that we notice. So after in ourselves, working with people at the deepest level,
Yeah.
mediums and coaches, there's certain patterns that come up with rejection.
Yeah.
Because whenever you do go outside of your comfort zone and you start the business or you do anything that's out of your comfort zone, that's something you've never done before. And then also something that the people around you have never experienced before, then that rejection will come. And like you're saying too, it's going to come from so many different ways. Like say
Yeah.
you're a medium and you're going out there and you could kind of anticipate, oh, my grandma or somebody in my family or my aunt is somebody that's very religious and she's going to reject mediumship, right? Some of the stuff is predictable, but then there's other things that come up that's not as predictable. And the power is anticipation. There's power in anticipating. So it's like if you're an MLB player, you're a baseball player and you're hitting a ball and you know the guy's going to throw 100 miles per hour, knowing that in advance, your odds to hit the ball will increase tenfold, a thousandfold. So that's the power of it. So that's
And
what we're talking about here.
yeah, there's definitely power in that. And I think the most shocking thing for a lot of people that are doing this work is sometimes it's even in their partners. They're noticing their partners aren't supporting their work. Um, and that could be like the cherry on top of the relationship where they're like, their partners aren't coming around. Sometimes it could be the beginning stages. I feel like for us, we always had an understanding with this work before we even got into working with clients. So we knew the power of the mind and energy and studying. And that's why we connected on that level. But sometimes what can take place is you're already in a relationship before you get into this sort of work, and the person isn't used to seeing you in this light. Like maybe it was in the background when you were younger, but now all of a sudden you're doing the work, you're showing up to classes, and there's rejection in what you're doing from someone that's the closest thing to you. And really, after a lot of thought, because we've worked with so many students, thousands of psychic mediums and healers, and even business owners that are just coaches, if you don't have the support from your partner, it is a really hard road if you don't have a supportive community around you. Like you need some sort of support because your partner is someone that you usually live with, and you need to make sure that you're having the support from someone that's closest to you.
Well, it's predictable. If you
Yeah.
don't have the support from your partner, from a community, we can already tell you from the patterns that we've noticed, you're going to take steps forward, but then you're going to take
Right.
you take 3 steps forward, you're going to take 4 steps backwards. You're going to be just swimming in this fishbowl for the next 10 or 20 years if you don't get that support.
Yeah.
Because you're doing something, you're a pioneer. You're doing something. So let's think about like what is rejection? All it is it's energy that's going and filtering through you or filtering through somebody else. And then we all have these belief systems. And when the energy flows through that soul, that person, it's flowing through the belief systems of that person.
Right.
And all rejection is when that energy is flowing through, they're creating meaning out of it. And their meaning is something that's going to reject it. So for example, we've talked to many people over the years that are not open to mediumship. And then we ask them the question, well, have you ever connected with spirit before or a past loved one? Or we use a language they can relate to. And then they'll stop and think for a moment, like, well, there was this time when I was 5 and this happened, so maybe I did. And then as that person starts to develop their mediumship skills and they start to connect on a daily basis, like kind of like me 15 years ago, as I started to do it, I realized, whoa, I've always been doing
Right.
this. I just had a belief system before that, that when a past loved one would come through, I'd feel the energy, I would sense it. My belief system was like, oh, that's God, or that's something else that I can't talk to and communicate with. It's not somebody that's around me that's a past loved one. That was my belief system. Some people's it's,
Yeah.
oh, that's just a feeling. That's
I thought
just
it was
human.
a sin. I believed in signs, but I disconnected
Right.
that. I'm like, oh, it's a sign. And then if you connect, which is the same thing, it's a sin.
Right.
Or you get a reading, it's a sin.
So the energy flows through. You're like, oh, it's a sin, or it's something else, or it's just human emotion. So that's all rejection is. So whenever we experience rejection, your whole goal is to, like, the title is rejection's rocket fuel for success. Your whole goal is like, so say you're a medium and you're going out and you're creating a business and you're getting internal rejection, right? Internal resistance. These limiting beliefs are coming up and they're stopping you from taking action. Like if you look at your results and what you've been doing, you're not taking action. So the rejection there is like, okay, I'm experiencing this. It's causing me not to take action. What do I do? Like, how do I overcome this? Rejection is a call to action. So it's all about enhancing your belief systems, raising your belief systems. So another example is like, say you're getting rejection from the outside. You're a medium, you're creating this business, you're creating success, and the people that you want to support you, they're not supporting you, and you're getting caught up and you're getting pissed at them and you're getting resentful towards them. Well, that's one belief, and you could carry on with that and you'll stay in that rejection process. Or you can upgrade your belief system and you could be like, oh, okay, my new belief system is like, they're not supposed to believe it right
Right.
now. They've never experienced, or they're not aware that they've experienced mediumship before. So I'm neurotic for that's my alarm. You just
I
asked me
just
about
asked
it.
that question.
But I'm neurotic for expecting that person to believe in everything that I'm doing, even though they've never created a mediumship business, never created a coaching business. But here I am expecting them. So it's like, it's all about, anytime internal rejection, external rejection, the question we should ask ourselves is, what am I believing about this?
Yeah.
And what belief can I create within me that when this does happen again, like a family member or somebody rejects your business, how can I be in a space inside of myself that doesn't affect me? Because I just see more clearly with this new belief system.
Yes. Okay, I love that.
And I'll leave you on that.
Okay, and I'm going to talk about the hidden rejections because this is so important. So sometimes we think rejection could be in plain sight. We think that people have to tell us, I don't believe in what you do, or you shouldn't do this as a business. You should stay safe and secure in whatever, you are currently doing. Or, oh, all of a sudden, you're sharing online and you're brand new to this. Like those comments, yes, they can come out. They're in plain sight. But hidden rejection is something that's even more powerful to pay attention to. Because for me personally, I was very passive about certain things. I would ignore it and just be passive and just not pay attention to it. Now I'm aware of it, but I don't let it affect me. And I found that working when we coach our students, we notice the same type of patterns. So when people are rejecting you in plain sight, they're saying comments that you know that they don't believe in it, or they're saying, oh, you're just doing it for the money and not for the actual work. Like they'll say comments that it's like in plain sight. You can hear it from them. They're not hiding it. But then there's hidden rejection, where when you are happy in your life and someone's going through a difficult time, they want you to be in their storm with them. And they look at you when you're experiencing success or having happiness, and they look at you like you're doing something wrong because you're not miserable like them. And they will do hidden passive aggressive behavior to go underneath what you're doing and take away from the power and the beauty of what's happening in your life. And we find this with our clients. This happens all the time. And you have to be aware of it because you have to be aware of those type of people. I can understand humans that can happen randomly, but when it's in the character of the person and they're knocking you down in a hidden way, this is very important to be mindful of this. The other thing that I noticed too with working with our people that come up, and I've experienced this too, is when people are giving hidden rejections, they will go to the people closest to you. It could be a spouse, it could be a close circle group that you're connected to, it could be people you're spending time with. In front of you, they'll give them a compliment, not in a real way, attention, and not in a real way, to do it in front of you, to give a compliment to the other person. So, you know, I'm not giving you a compliment. That's hidden rejection too. Do you know what I'm saying? So these pieces are vital to talk about because they can fuel you. And you start to think, okay, do I truly need that outside source, that outside resource to get this energy from this person to tell me I'm great, I'm good, everything's amazing because they said so? It does something to you. Like we're talking about fueling you for success. It gives you rocket fuel because you think, I don't need that outside circumstance to make me feel confident. And there's things that you can do to get there without the approval of other people.
Yeah, and you're upgrading to believe, or you're upgrading your belief system on that. So on one end, you're seeing that these people, with everything you've been explaining since I've been in the room, it's manipulation.
Yeah.
People are manipulating instead of coming out and being real and, you know, more authentic and saying, hey, I just don't believe in what you're doing. I don't believe.
Right.
They're going and they're doing passive aggressive behavior and they're manipulating to try to do it. And then on the other end, like you were saying too, it's like it's all about you upgrading your belief system. That, wait, I don't need anybody's approval.
Yes.
For many reasons. Why don't I need other people's approval? Well, for one, it's your vision. And your vision, other people can't see. Very few people in your life, from my experience and from what I hear from other people, very few people in your life are going to really understand your vision. And they're going to see it clearly because those very few people will listen to you. But other than that, the rest of the people, they're totally not going to see it. So from on one end, that's your fault for having that belief system that you think that, oh, they're supposed to give me compliments and see exactly my vision. Well, now we're upgrading our belief system to where we're like, no, they can't see it. Matter of fact, they can't because the vision's within me. So that's one end of it. And then whenever you have this new belief system and you go and the people are doing manipulative behavior, we've all been there before. When you outgrow that, it doesn't even touch you.
Right.
When you're around that, it doesn't even touch you. You just notice it. And what you'll see as you don't resist that over and over, eventually they'll stop and they'll start doing it to somebody else, or those people will just kind of fall out of your life, one or the other. But the goal here is not just a finger point, like, oh, they're so wrong because they don't understand my vision and they're being manipulators. Yeah, you got to get that out of your system. Like on one perspective, allow yourself to be pissed off, allow yourself to get all that stuff out, but don't just stay in that one perspective. Now start to look at a variety of different perspectives so you can see the whole truth, and that way you can move through it and then do what we're talking about here, upgrading your belief system. That's what this is all about. So as you're going out and you're building your mediumship business, your coaching business, you're creating the dreams that you want, and then those limiting beliefs are coming up in you, internal resistance, and the people around you or other people are resisting what you're doing, external rejection. It's a call to action. It's always a call to action to upgrade who you are, to personally develop. We always tell people, like, if you have a business, it's a personal development course, because you can only grow your business, you can only grow your mediumship, your coaching practice, all of that by personally developing. And this is a big part of it, because this rejection piece is what stops most people from being consistent. Like 10 years from now, the majority of people that's doing mediumship and coaching, they're not going to be doing it anymore. They're going to be those people that are putting on the gas, putting on the brake, and then 10 years from now, they're doing the same thing. Why? Because this one word, rejection, and they haven't gotten clear, haven't gotten clarity around what is rejection, why
And
is it
are you
happening,
allowing
and
it?
how can I overcome it?
And are you allowing it to come through? Because if you haven't experienced rejection, then you're not pushing yourself enough. That's what I want to say. Like I've thought about this a lot over the years, and it's like if you're really putting yourself out there and you're not, you think you're putting yourself out there and you're not experiencing rejection, either you're not aware of the patterns, you're ignoring the patterns, or you're not experiencing because you really aren't pushing beyond your comfort zone. So that's the big thing I think that people have to recognize. If you're like, oh no, I never experienced it. Everyone loves me and everything. Well, you're either unaware or you're not pushing yourself beyond, because rejection is part of the process of doing any business, really. Doesn't matter if it's coaching, mediumship, it's starting a new job, it's getting in a new relationship. You're going to experience the energy of people around you feeling a little bit uncomfortable, but that's when you use it as fuel, and then all of a sudden it starts to shift away. And that's the most important thing too.
Because the opposite of it too is like, so rejection is rocket fuel for your success. You can use it that way, but it's also, we'll call it like a black vortex, a black hole of the universe. Like, it's also like if you don't figure out a way to use rejection as rocket fuel for your success, it's going to bring you down.
Right.
Because, like, so for example, if you're in front of somebody and they're doing their manipulative behavior and then you feed into it and then you're reactive to it, and then that energy is within you. Well, now when you leave that person, you're taking that reactive energy. You guys just co-created that. But if you can be in front of that person and be so present that you're just responsive with it, you're not reactive, you're responsive. And what does that look like? It's going to look different with each situation. You got to trust your instinct. How will you know that you were responsive? Because whenever you leave from that person that's manipulating, you're going to feel energized. Like, you're going to feel centered. You're going to feel like you just had rocket fuel injected into you. And as you do this over and over and over again, you start almost to look forward to rejection, because you're like, whoa, this is the thing that's propelling me up. This is one of the things, right? So acceptance is another thing that can propel you up, right? Like when you're accepted by people, when you accept yourself, when you create results for your clients, that pushes you up higher and higher. But also the rejection, the pain, pushes you up higher and higher as you learn the art and the science of transferring that into fuel.
And that, it's funny because they say, when you get to a new level, you have a new experience with different things that come up. And I feel like over time, it gets easier. And it does give you the fuel. And it is a mindset piece around this. I think at the very beginning stages of my business, there were moments where I let it slow me down, and I start to take things personally. And once I got out of it, it was a good feeling. But when I was in it, it was very draining. And, you made a comment about it gives you that extra, you feel energized from it, something to that effect. When you're not using it to fuel you, you are completely drained and exhausted. And you can't do your mission with that kind of energy. You need to transform the energy so that you can help more people. I think that's what it's about. It's about thinking about who can I serve and who can I focus on, rather than focusing on the other details. So that's a big thing.
It is. It's huge. And I always will compare things to sports, because like everybody's played sports in one form or another. And when you're playing sports, you're dealing with rejection all the time. Like, say for basketball, like your shot could get blocked. What do? If you're playing basketball and your shot gets blocked, that's rejection. They literally call it a block, a rejection. You were rejected, right? You could either cry and be like, oh, poor me, why did they block me? Or use it as rocket fuel. Like, all right, now I need to go to the gym. I need to be able to jump higher. I need to be able to be more powerful. So that way, when I go and I play that opponent again, I can jump even higher and he's not going to block me.
Yeah.
So you can use that. You could think about any sport you've ever played, like competition, that energy that's pushing against you. We could call that rejection. We could call that resistance. It's pushing you higher if you allow it to, if you have the
Right.
right mindset. If you have the wrong mindset, you're going to leave from that competition thinking, oh, I suck. I knew it. And it's not that way. It's actually beautiful. Rejection or resistance on the sport, playing sports, or rejection or resistance in life is actually beautiful if you use it right.
It's so true. So we want to hear from you. We want to hear, what experiences have you had with rejection and how have you used it to propel you? Or maybe you've had a situation where you're like, I have an insight from this episode. Now I want to think about how I can reframe the story around when I was rejected and how I can utilize this to propel me forward. And the last thing that I want to share, this is a side note for some upcoming things. One thing that's coming up that we're excited about is our psychic medium retreat. This is our 8th annual psychic medium retreat. The deadline is approaching to sign up. There's only a couple spots left. If you want to grab one of the last spots, reach out to me. If you're not a current student or a former student, we are doing Zoom call interviews, making sure that you're a good fit for the retreat and we're a good fit for you for the retreat. So this isn't just for psychic mediums. A lot of psychic mediums and healers come to this. It's also for people that really want to use psychic mediumship skills. So there's a mix of people that are here with all different skill levels, and that's what makes it so powerful each year. And when people leave, they're like, thank God I showed up, and they reach their next level just being around a group. The second thing, if you are local in Florida, I have a Heart to Hearts with Heaven event coming up, and that is on Sunday, April 6th. So that's on my website, lindsaymarino.com. If you need the link, just reach out to me, but it's in the events section. So we hope you enjoyed this episode, and we will see you next time. Bye.